I'm going to be very honest, it's weird. It's 2 months of constantly studying and then suddenly there's nothing. Your parents are not shouting at you to study. Teachers are not texting you to complete a particular chapter or anything. I have had good teachers. So they were constantly pinging us that complete this, complete that, and suddenly it's a halt. When I'm studying, it's like 7 to 8 days of constantly studying from 8:30 to 1 p.m. Even if you take that 20-minute nap, you will feel guilty. Sit with your thoughts. Boredom is one thing, it is not only, it's not laziness always. It's like your brain asking for a meaningful stimulation.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Student Voice Matters. This is your host Sonalika Goswami. This episode is for the students who have just completed their boards, be it 10th or 12th. Now I know that 10th students are all set to go into class 11, but this podcast is especially for those students who are on their way to college and currently don't know what they're up to. So if you're bored, anxious, trying to figure out which college you're getting into, or just lost in thoughts, this podcast is for you. Because today our guest is Sharanya Sen, a student of GD Birla School who has just finished her class 12 boards. Thank you, Sharanya, for coming.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
So now that you've completed your class 12 board exams, what is the feeling like?
I'm going to be very honest, it's weird. Because it's 2 months of constantly studying and then suddenly there's nothing. Your parents are not shouting at you to study. There's no pressure. Teachers are not texting you to complete a particular chapter or anything, because I have had good teachers. So they were constantly pinging us that complete this, complete that, and suddenly it's a halt.
Yeah.
It's a complete halt. So for someone who's very active like me, I need to be in some sort of an activity all the time. It's a bit weird, I think. It's a bit confusing as to what to do now.
So what were the things like you wanted to do? Did you want to sleep a lot when you finished your podcast? When you finished your boards, I'm sorry. When you finished your boards, did you plan to sleep a lot?
That was the plan, but here's the thing. You plan a lot, you plan to sleep because there are countless sleepless nights, and suddenly you have this burst of energy because you have so much of free time. So I don't think fixing my sleep schedule has happened in a while. It has happened.
I think it has always been a thing, right? That when you are preparing for your exam, or when you're going through that exam timetable, you just feel when is it going to get over? I'm going to sleep so much. But once the exam ends, you don't feel like sleeping at all. It's you have fixated yourself into sleepless nights.
Definitely, because back then when I'm studying, it's 7 to 8 days of constantly studying from 8:30 to 1 p.m. a.m. So if you take that 20-minute nap, you will feel guilty.
Right.
Because what if I could have completed 3 pages by now?
Right.
Why
oh
am
my god,
sleeping?
I just wasted 20 minutes sleeping.
Yeah, but now I have 20 hours a day to just sleep. And I don't even have to feel guilty.
Sleeping gets boring then.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, you told me that you're not even preparing for any general examination like CUET or anything, which a lot of the students are. So in that case, you must be preparing yourself for the entrance examinations in colleges.
Yeah.
So have you started preparing for it already, or are you still in that break phase?
I'm still trying to figure out all the colleges. Maybe I think jotting down everything, a plan definitely helps. So having a clear overview of what you want to do, and then gathering the syllabus if you can from the different colleges, so that you can gather more information, and gathering as much of information as you can before going into anything. Not only college, but anything. I think that really helps.
So did you have a checklist with while your examinations were on? Once my exam ends, these are the things that I'm going to do. Did you have a checklist?
Yeah, mental notes I was taking.
What were those? If you want to share some.
Going out with my friends more. Because I don't think we do that. We're
right.
Do you want to go out? Yeah, I want to go out. And then we don't. So that's the thing. So I thought I'll do that more, but...
So that has also not happened properly.
It's a complete
stagnation. Have you been out with your friends though?
I did. I just went to her house, my best friend's house, and we just scrolled on Instagram to get
That is what it has come down to, right?
Yeah.
Like everything is in the phone.
Sad,
Why do you
but
need to
fun.
take the effort?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just sit across. And I remember we used to do this, when my friend and I, we'd run out of conversation, we just browse phones. And it was like comfortable like anything.
Yeah, I think that comfortable silence after so much of mental chaos, I think that is also needed.
Oh yeah,
after
course.
a point.
Of course. So you're spending most of your time at home, or are you like going
Mainly
exploring
home.
the city?
Mainly home, but I'm trying to get out as much as possible. Like I'm here today. It was not in the plan.
Right.
It's an impromptu. But yeah, I try to be more active. I think that definitely helps you.
So other than going to a friend's house, sleeping, preparing for entrance exam for colleges, what are the other things that you're doing throughout the day?
I think one thing that I put to a halt for a while was all my hobbies.
Right.
I think everything, not only hobbies, but any skill building activity, I think we couldn't practice for a while. So I'm a dancer. So I have resumed that.
Oh,
It's-
great.
it's
Great.
a-
So have you like started going to any classes?
I
or-
will.
Okay.
I will. Very, very soon, hopefully.
Perfect. Amazing.
But till then, I think that is what gives me a purpose. So I try to practice it as much as possible. Because I couldn't be in touch with that for a while.
So in case you have missed out on some of your passions or your hobbies, it's time to, relive that,
Definitely.
restart with that. So you just told me that suddenly it's a halt to everything, which means like there's a feeling of nothingness. You don't know what to do. You have nothing to do. So, with your colleges ahead of you and you trying to figure out which college you're choosing, what entrance examinations to give, I am hoping that you have a course in mind that you want to pursue.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So, does anxiety come to you more often? Because you hear a lot of students, even in fact, when I was going through this, I was very anxious about which college am I going to get into, because that in a way defines your entire future.
Definitely, yeah.
So, is anxiety coming to you a little bit more?
Because I have a few goal colleges, right? So my fear is that I'm not giving any entrance exams, like general entrance exams, right? So I think there's a division among the student community that one set is giving entrance exams and one is not. Okay, so people who are not, and I think seats have increased this year.
So I would like to just interrupt in
Yeah.
between here, because I don't have a lot of knowledge on this, and I know that you are not preparing for any general entrance exam, but just in our time, CUET exams were not at all like much, like we didn't hear a lot about it. We knew that it was there, but in my circle nobody was preparing for CUET. I never prepared. I didn't even know what that exam was. But I'm sure you have much more insight into what that exam is and why you're choosing not to appear for it. So if you could just, if you have any insight, if you just provide us that how, giving CUET, the people who are giving CUET, how does it differentiate you from them? If you could just talk a little about it.
I think the people who are giving CUET, they have a continuous tight schedule even after 2 months of boards.
No, like what is the
like-
CUET exam about? Like how does it help you get into colleges?
It's mainly it's a general entrance exam, right? So it depends on the score, and there are certain goal colleges that you probably DU colleges or whatever. So that particular mark sheet that you're getting, whatever you're scoring on CUET, that will help you get into these goal colleges. And plus, for people who don't want to be dependent on the board exam results, because this year it has been a bit of a
The papers were a bit tough?
a bit
Okay.
twisted.
Okay.
So I think that would be a reason why the seats also increase, because half of my friends are very anxious about what will the results be. So I might as well give CUET here. So especially maths and eco papers and everything. So they have been a bit stressed about that.
So
But
why have
yeah,
you chosen not to appear for CUET? Did it not matter for the course that you are pursuing?
my colleges don't really require the goal colleges that I have.
Okay.
They don't really
Okay.
have CUET.
Okay. Yeah, I think CUET is just for a designated few colleges.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
for
no,
every
no,
college,
no,
right?
no.
Okay. So that takes a lot of pressure off of you, I'd say, because
And it adds on more pressure because
in a
I'm
way,
completely dependent on my board's result. So
But then you can always appear for college entrance examinations.
Yeah, definitely.
That is also there, but I think that even that depends on college to college. Some colleges don't
Yeah.
require you to appear for entrance. So I want to ask you this: when you were appearing for, you just mentioned a thing that this year's question papers were a little bit twisted. So when that happens and when you come out, does that also like constantly bother you, your results?
definitely, because it's best of 4, right, for us. So my only thought was that I should not mess up this, because this is going on in my best of 4. So like if I mess this up, even a part of it, and well, it's a me problem that I'm a perfectionist.
You're going to pursue psychology, you mentioned to me before the
psychology
shoot.
paper was good.
So you have to keep psychology in your best of 4.
Definitely.
That was in your mind.
Yeah, that was good. But
okay,
every
that's
other,
great.
Yeah, but every other paper had history. I had political science, and these are like the most scoring subjects.
So you had like core dynamic subjects, like which needed a lot of studying.
Yeah.
So I can actually understand, how she is like, feeling that emptiness more, because I'm sure you have to do like rigorous studying.
Absolutely, because they are such scoring subjects. You can score hundreds in those.
Absolutely.
So a bit of disappointment perhaps, because in a scoring subject, and it has been my best scoring subject for a while.
Psychology, that is?
Yeah, psychology, pol science, these have been my scoring subject. But when the question paper is vague, that is when the disappointment hits, because it's not your preparation that you're disappointed with.
So when that anxiety comes to you, when you're feeling nervous about your results or which college you're going to get into, how do you cope with that? What do you do?
I think mainly my main instinct is to call up my friends and rant about it. Okay, ranting is the best way I can get it out of my head. But to remind myself that whatever I did, I gave my best at least. That is something I cannot question. Whatever I gave in the paper, partly it was the paper, partly it was what I prepared. But I know this much, that had I studied for even a day, it wouldn't have been better.
So you like talk to yourself in a way?
Yeah, definitely. I stand in front of the mirror and I keep reminding myself that you're okay. You're taking on too much. It's fine. You don't have to be a perfectionist all the time.
Right. So what are the other things that you're doing? Because this nothingness, this is actually put a lot of the people into questioning, like especially when a person is as productive as you are, and I can feel that because I need to be constantly engaged in something or the other. So when this used to be one of the toughest time for me, because 1 week would go by when I'm like, okay, going out, sleeping, browsing phone. After this, I used to be like, now what am I going to do? Like, do I have anything? Okay, I actually love dancing myself. So what I would do is I would also like self choreograph a lot of the songs and just record in front of the video. So when you said that, I think this is a very nice thing to relive on your hobby. Talking to yourself, that is something I also do a lot.
Just sit with your thoughts. I think this is something I've been doing almost every day. We don't get time to know ourselves.
Right.
That is, I think introspection is so important.
So much.
Just sit with your thoughts. No music, no scrolling.
I have this entire thing in my head when I'm like, I prepare myself like I'm sitting on a talk show. It's like some big time talk show and I've been invited, and I sit across and I talk to myself. I'm the host and I'm the guest, and that is what I do. And I think in a way talking there, brings up a lot of things and calms you in a way.
Definitely, because when you're sitting with yourself, you often, boredom is one thing, it is not only it's not laziness always. It's like your brain asking for a meaningful stimulation.
Correct.
So when you're sitting, and being bored is also a privilege in today's world, because you're so active all the time.
Your mind is constantly into something or some other thing.
When I think I'm bored, I try to take it as positively as possible, because I wouldn't get this free time. So I just sit with my thoughts. And I think the most quirky, creative, problem-solving thoughts come to you when you have nothing on your mind. The random shower thoughts you get, solving mystery. These are the things I think you also find a lot about yourself. What you have done like 3 years ago, what you could have done, these things. So sitting with yourself is a good practice, I think.
Spending just self-time.
Yeah.
So are you like doing anything else? Like, are you doing any beauty routine, skincare routine, food routine? You like doing any of that?
Trying to revamp my life a little bit.
In what ways?
Yeah. I'm trying to exercise more. That is important.
Fitness. Very important.
Fitness to feel good. Not to fit into any social norms. Just for yourself.
To feel good about yourself. Correct.
And keeping my mind as clutter-free as possible. So going on walks. Randomly, just get out of your house, walk without music. Sit with your thoughts.
Doesn't it like cloud more thoughts into your head?
No, I think that is like avoidance is something I'm trying to avoid.
Okay.
I want to get in touch with all my thoughts.
Okay.
Whatever is there in my
So you
mind.
want your head to
I
be
want to
cluttered
be
with
more
thoughts and
aware
then
of myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is nice.
Rather than just pushing it away and avoiding it, because when the situation gets difficult, then I'd know that, oh, okay, I think like this. So perhaps I probably have a solution to that. So I try to do that. And other than that, it's pretty like very minute lifestyle changes. Nothing too big, because I don't want to take on the pressure to be perfect. Okay, it's not like, not every break has
Is
to be...
anybody like asking you to be perfect, or is it like something you've set up for yourself?
No, definitely not. But I think it's like every break has been turned into a hustle boot camp. Like, oh, you have a break, so learn coding, learn a language, this,
Oh
that.
yeah, like take
Constantly.
up a course,
Yeah.
do an internship.
Yeah.
But I think people tell that because there are certain advantages to it.
Definitely.
But then you should also have the full freedom to say, I don't want to do that right now. Maybe sometime in the future, but not right now.
So that is why you need to be very in touch with yourself to know what you actually like and what you
so
don't.
that because a lot of people might just say, I want to enjoy my break right now, I don't want to do anything, but later on they're like regretting, oh my god, why haven't I not done that?
This
So
regret,
you need to be,
exactly.
so you need to be assured that, okay, do I need to do this right now? If yes, okay, let's do it. If not, I have to be sure that, okay, I want to do it, but not this time, maybe sometime in the future. Is it like really helping me? Is it, because doing an internship or doing a course just for the sake of fitting into your resume or something is also a waste of time in a way.
Yeah, because you're not doing, at the end of the day, are you feeling good?
Suppose you're like a
about
psychology student, but I mean, it's true that there's no end to learning. You can learn anything, and that just adds more knowledge. But also imagine that you are going to pursue psychology. So right now, because you're getting into college, maybe a course related to psychology might have helped, whereas you are doing a course which is like more related to Google and stuff just because it's cool. That is also like not as useful, because you're not going to need that in the long run. Maybe that knowledge is going to stay with you, but so it's important to not give in to the peer
pressure. Exactly.
Yeah,
because everybody else is doing it, so I'll also do it, but at the end of the day, it's not benefiting me.
Correct.
So like, knowing your likes and dislikes and making a plan ahead, I think if you are someone who likes to plan out your activities, I think it would help. But sticking to a plan always helps, because then you're constantly achieving a goal. So that acts as a reward system, so you feel accomplished perhaps.
So how important is social media right now? What role is social media, internet, phone playing into your life right now? How much time are you spending on your screen?
I am spending I used to spend significant amount of time on social media, but doom scrolling. Nothing.
That's what we all get stuck at.
Yeah.
Doom scrolling.
But what I'm trying to do is curate my feed more.
Okay.
Because because whatever you consume, that is what will show up in your algorithm.
So what are you trying to curate it with? Like, what are the things?
I'm trying to find things that would actually, that are actually beneficial to me, that will add something.
Like, what are the things?
Lifestyle changes. It could be random psychology facts. It could be art. It could be music. It could be like one thing that you could indulge into if you want to get rid of boredom, I think, or like right now, or even if you don't have anything, is interest hopping rather than scrolling. It's basically, so my father is a airplane fanatic. Okay.
Wow, okay.
He is very interested in trains and planes and always looking at parts of it, and I never understood the relevance of it.
He scrolls all that on the internet all the time.
His YouTube feed is just that.
Yeah.
So I never understood why, and now that I have a lot of free time, I randomly like, what is this about? Might as well just see. So I randomly started searching up those videos, whatever my father watches, and I went into that rabbit hole of it. And when I stopped, I was like, wow, I feel knowledgeable, I feel intellectual, so I can go out there.
So is this something that is interesting you as well?
Yeah, definitely, because it's also like finding what is interesting to you, right? So you're just trying to find one niche creator and see like if that is interesting for you. So this going into a rabbit hole of a new thing, that not only adds to your knowledge, but it also makes you feel good at the end of the day, because you've learned something new.
That is so interesting. Is there something else that you're like learning, not course or anything, but like something which might be a little bit of an interest to you, something that is adding a little bit to your creative side? Anything
Off topic, but like, yeah, definitely. But I have always been a fashion enthusiast.
Okay, wow.
So I love fashion. I love anything fashion, and I think I've always stick to fashion shows and runways and everything, but never what goes on behind those clothing and those textiles. And I had home science as my subject.
Okay.
So during exams, what I had to do is mug up everything about the textiles. I would never really sat there to understand what it is about. So now that I have a lot of time, I felt, why not give it a shot?
I didn't know home science also included textiles.
Yeah, definitely. It has everything.
Because
it's more of science than home at this point.
Because I had fashion technology. And the reason I took that subject was like, oh my god, wow, fashion, so I'm going to learn about designs and all that. But no, it was fashion technology. So what it taught me was everything behind fashion, and that was so intense and important and interesting, but also very difficult.
Yeah.
So every work that goes behind it, every commercials involved in it, it's so much more than just the design models with the designs you see walking. That is definitely the best part about it, but there's like so much more important things going behind it. When people mock the people like, oh, you're into fashion world, so what do? Just dress up? That's like such an understatement.
Yeah, because it's much more than that. Because I had fashion designing at the very beginning of the year, but I had to switch it to history because I had pol science and I wanted interdisciplinary subjects.
Okay.
So by the time I was actually like attending fashion classes, our teacher is amazing. So she is like, pulling up random facts and everything. And history and fashion goes hand in hand because I really like history, I like fashion. So now I read fashion history. So
wow, fashion history reminds me. Okay, enlighten us. A little off topic, but enlighten us on fashion history a little.
Fashion history, as in like the history of how garments, evolved over the time and what are the, why it happened. Most of it is
so
a bit
why
disturbing,
suddenly did you pick this particular lane? I mean, there are so many things about fashion technology, but why suddenly fashion history?
That going down to the rabbit hole.
Okay, and that is what got your attention.
I started with watching fashion content, and then suddenly there's this brand. I wouldn't take name, but then there's this brand on their Instagram feed. Every campaign they do, they put up a historical thing about it.
Wow, okay.
So I used to read those, and from there I started digging more.
Let's find out.
Let's just find more
others.
about it. So yeah, and I do have a tendency to hyperfixate on things. So when I'm into it, I'll be there like for 2 hours.
Like I have to know
3 hours.
everything about it.
Yeah. Gathering as much knowledge as I can, and if I don't, then I don't do anything. So there's a big time fluctuation. Either I'm hyperfixating on something or I'm doing nothing. So in those highs, I think that these meaningful things, passively utilizing social media is very important. Because
amazing, that's like such a nice way to use your social media skills, which I know that doom scrolling happens a lot more. Even at like our age, at our demography also, doom scrolling is what happens.
It's very frequent.
Even if you
tendency
want
now.
to watch a movie, we're like, why give 2 to 3 hours to a movie, and then we end up scrolling for like 2 to 3 hours. But just
attention span has absolutely reduced, and not only it's not even a generational
30
thing.
seconds, that's all you give for a content.
Exactly. So like to watch something without increasing the speed or like swiping to a different segment of the video, that is and it's not only a generational thing. I think parents are also struggling with this.
Right,
every generation.
because I'll tell you why, because there are so many commitments we have throughout the day, so that has to be short, so that we don't have to leave anything in between to attend to something else. So that is why I think the different speed ranges have come up in videos. That is why they're like reels. That's
and
why reels are
also
more
the
popular.
format of reels, you'll see that the constant cutting, like if you're watching a cooking video and there's someone chopping
so much
onion,
so much editing.
Yeah, you don't even have the pressure, you don't even have the patience to watch someone cut onion for 5 minutes.
So like, and then there's a chop. So like one chop and then everything's
that
chopped.
has heavily affected our attention span over the time, which took me a lot of time to realize.
Yeah, like you might, if you're like a noob, if you like don't know anything about cooking, if you're a layman in cooking, you're watching a video, you'll know how to make the dish, but you don't know how to prepare the ingredients.
Yeah.
Suppose you don't know how to chop. You'll never learn how to chop an onion. You have to probably search for altogether a different video for that.
And nowadays, I don't think people refer to YouTube videos. They refer to
Instagram,
or YouTube Shorts, because they are
YouTube Shorts,
faster.
correct.
And they are faster, and you have to just devote 30 seconds of your time.
Right.
Even if the cooking process will take you maybe 2 hours to cook and prepare, you will give 30 seconds to learn about
Correct.
it, nothing more than that.
Just bringing you back to the topic
Yes.
of break after boards. How are you sorting through colleges? Like, what are the qualities you are looking into when you're trying to take admission, or when you have these college goals in mind?
I'm trying to gather as much knowledge from my seniors, because having contact with your seniors in different colleges will give you an insight of what is going on within the infrastructure. So faculty is definitely something you need to keep in mind, that you in order to a holistic development of everything. So I'm trying to gather as much information about the faculty, about the curriculums that are there. So it's not only about one particular thing that you're going for, right? It's not only one subject. There are other options. So chalking out those and what are more favorable to you, and in your future, whatever future plan you have. So in accordance to that, I think that is how I'm proceeding with it. I still have a lot of work to do on that.
But you're pursuing with psychology. So are there any key points? Okay, if this college has this, I'm going to pick this college. Did you have anything like this in mind?
I'm still working on that.
Okay.
Then still working on that. But yeah, definitely. I have started, researching more about the curriculums and whatever is, psychology is definitely a priority, and that has to be on point.
Right.
But other than that, whatever is available. So I think that's subjective.
Correct.
But
then psychology is what you want to pursue.
Definitely, yeah. That's
was it something you always knew, or did that also get influenced by something else?
Funny thing, I was a science student till 10th. Okay, so, and my marks was not that, it wasn't that good. I always
You didn't have psychology in 9 and 10?
No.
Right.
I had biology. Okay, so I was very good at that, and my parents thought, okay, medical.
Neat,
medical, done. But after psychology is something I used to always, maybe I'm just sitting and I'm just looking about, I think I got introduced to it through criminal psychology. My friend was very interested in it, and she sent me an article, and
about criminal psychology subject.
About a case.
Okay.
About a case study. So I read that, and that was a moment that, okay, I'll do this. Even if it has to be, even if I have to fight with my parents over it.
So you plan to pursue with criminal psychology?
No, I am
just psychology right now.
But,
but psychology is what interested you.
But it's really fun to know about how the human mind works. Like, I can talk to someone and I know what kind of a person they are.
What goes on? Did you had psychology in 11 and 12, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's this misconception that you can read somebody's mind.
No.
You can't do that, but you can definitely observe the behavior. If somebody is disinterested, if somebody is not being real, you can understand that better than other people. Yeah. I think
body
that's
language, speaking
absolutely
style.
Absolutely, the interpretation of body language.
Just observation, I think. It's not even about reading your mind.
The way they are moving their hands, the way they are looking at you, you can just understand if that person is being real or they're just.
It's an advantage, disadvantage, whatever you say.
Whatever,
Whenever
I think it's an advantage. You know when people are just being fake. So Sharanya, what? Thank you so much for coming in and for sharing what you do, and I'm sure that a lot of students are feeling just the same as you are, and I hope that they find something productive to do. Definitely your tips are going to help them a lot.
Hopefully.
And I think whatever you said, about being productive, reviving.
It's more about
reviving your hobbies, and finding out something creative, especially getting innovative with your scrolling.
Yeah.
Make use
of...
Be
more mindful. Don't quit, but be more mindful.
And spend time with yourself more, and exercise.
And it's not revamp, it's recharge. This break.
Correct.
That is, there's no pressure of being productive all the time. Right. Even if you set 90 minutes a day for doing something you love, something meaningful, and even if it's passively scrolling something, that is fine, because there's no pressure. all you need to do is feel accomplished at the end of the day.
And if you're ever feeling anxious, always go to your friends.
Definitely.
Two people feeling the same thing can definitely calm you down.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, okay, there's someone else going through the same thing. That helps, right?
Definitely.
So we are towards the end of our podcast. All the best to you. I hope you
Thank
get
you
into
so
your dream college with your dream course, that is psychology.
Hopefully.
And all the best. I hope that you do fabulous in your board exams.
Thank you so much. I wish all the best to everybody listening to this.
All the best to everyone. I hope all of you do very well in your board exams. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.